Alrighty, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Chimaera Conversations. This is my podcast where I talk about my opinions on the latest Star Wars media. We are filmed live every Wednesday in Chewy's Meme Town, the Discord server. If you would like to join and be a part of the live chat, link is in the description. So, to start off the episode, like I do most days, or most episodes, is we talk about the book of Boba Fett, which coincidentally also releases every Wednesday. So, first off, let's just say the book of Boba Fett, more like Mandalorian Season 3. So, this episode was entirely focused on the Mandalorian. I personally think that this is the best episode of the show. I will go as far to say I think that this is one of the best episodes of Star Wars that we've seen, period. It is all around just solid, fun Star Wars. Now, is it a good Book of Boba Fett episode? Not really. Not really, given the fact that Boba Fett does not make an appearance. Uh, I take that back. Boba Fett does make an appearance by name only. So he is in the episode. So anyone that says he's not in the episode, you're wrong. He is in the episode. He's referenced. Um, so really to start out, the opening sequence. The opening sequence was amazing. We see that Mando is back to bounty hunting, which that's not too shocking. I don't think Boba's really the type of guy to throw his support behind Bo-Katan and go help try to retake Mandalore. It's probably going to come to that eventually, but I don't think it's going to happen until like legitimately season 3. So he's back to bounty hunting. He goes to get his bounty. There's a fight. He whips out the dark saber. He kills a lot of guys, and there was one thing that I absolutely loved. And that's, I loved that even though he's the Mandalorian, even though he's trained with every weapon imaginable that he could probably be trained with, he cannot wield a lightsaber very good. In this fight scene, Mando nicks his leg with the dark saber. If that is not an accurate description on how 80% of the world's population would be with a real lightsaber, I don't know what is. Now, later on when he's being trained by the armorer, she says that, she explains the history of it, the history that we know about already. He says that it gets heavier with every swing. Now, I think it was George Lucas described a lightsaber like a broadsword. That the thing's heavy. But when you train with it, become proficient with it, it doesn't seem like it's heavy. And that was kind of his view on lightsabers. And it makes sense. Because Jedi wield lightsabers so elegantly, and then a Mandalorian picks it up and he's like, "Oh God, this is super super heavy. like unbalanced. I think Sabine Wren in Rebels when she's training with the dark saber, she says like something along the same lines that it's heavy. I don't know. I haven't watched Rebels in a couple months, um, so we get to see the remnants of the Navarro uh, sect. Uh, there's only like three of them, I think she said. And of course, Paz Vizsla is alive. They couldn't have killed him off. No, no, no. He was way too popular. And if he's of course voiced by Jon Favreau. Um, so we get to see the Night of a Thousand Tears, or part of it. How the Empire just absolutely destroys Mandalore with like that was at least like a couple hundred, if not thousands, of TIE bombers up in the air. So, and then you got to see obviously that shot with the K2 droids and the probe droids, just walking through the fire. That was 100% inspired by Terminator. Probably Terminator 2. That's my guess. But I loved that scene. I loved that we got more of what happened to Mandalore. Um, so really, the only other thing big that happens is, well, Mando gets excommunicated from the Children of the Watch because he removed his helmet, and then he goes to Tatooine and gets a new ship. And of course, that is an N1 Naboo starfighter, as seen in Star Wars Episode 1 Phantom Menace. We actually saw one, I think was it Mandalorian Season 1 that we saw them being chased? I think it was. But yeah, they got chased by a Naboo starfighter. So, Mando gets one. He gets it all chrome, nice and chrome, and takes it for a test spin going through Beggar's Canyon. Same route that Anakin went. And then once he gets out of it, she asks, "How was it?" And he replies, "Wizard." That's another reference to Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace. That's what Anakin's friend says about the pod racer. He says that it's Wizard. So, nice callback. Great callback. Um, the New Republic X-wing pilot that seems to be the only one out there makes an appearance. No Dave Filoni this time. Just the I can't think of his name, but yeah, just the other one. And then he has a new X-wing pilot with him, who is played by the guy that played Luke Skywalker in season 2. So that's cool. I thought it was Gareth Edwards at first, and I was like, oh, it's Gareth Edwards. No, I was wrong. It's not Gareth Edwards. Um, so now he's got a new ship. Um, now, when Boba gets to Mos Eisley, I think that's when Finnick knows that Mando is nearby. So I think they're kind of timeline different. Like most of the episode of Mando is in the past, but then it catches up to the present. Because I don't think that Finnick would know exactly where Mando is in the entire galaxy without him being on Tatooine. Uh, Tatooine is a planet in a very, very, very large galaxy. So Um, where was Boba Fett? Like I said, I think that it was a flashback. Well, no, not really a flashback, but it was in the past, and then it got to the present. So Boba Fett's probably just chilling in Jabba's palace, or he's off collecting more bounty hunters, more people. Maybe we'll get like a bounty hunter reveal, like we got in Empire Strikes Back, where it pans up and you see all the people he's collected to help him. Maybe Bosk, maybe Dingar, Dingar. Why did I say Dingar? Dingar, Zuckuss, maybe, maybe. This is all theorizing. We're definitely gonna see Baby Yoda next episode. We're gonna see Grogu. They they leaned towards it. With how much they leaned towards it in this episode was basically the same amount that they leaned into it last episode with the Mandalorian. Because, the only confirmation that we got that Mando was going to be in this episode was the theme that played at the end. And this episode had Din melting down the Beskar spear, rest in peace, uh, and then crafting armor out of it for Grogu. And then at the end of the episode, he says, I've got to go visit a little friend. That's Grogu. And then um, if you look on Mando's new ship, there's the compartment where the astromech used to be, but since she thought that Din Djarin is not like droids, she bypassed it to where he doesn't have to have an astromech. And there is a little spot, perfect little spot for a Grogu. So I'm willing to bet we're seeing Grogu. Now that also leads to us finding out maybe where Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple is, because that's actually unknown. We don't know. They never confirmed what planet Luke Skywalker's temple was on. Um, so we might get Mando having conversation with Luke Skywalker about Grogu, maybe about the dark saber. Maybe Luke knows about the dark saber. Maybe he will give Mando some pointers in how to use a lightsaber better. Of course, Mando is not force sensitive that we know of. Not denying rumors. All right, there was once a Mandalorian Jedi who says there can't be one again. Just saying. Um, but yeah, so there's a lot of possibilities, but of course this is all speculation, and I also don't think they would spend very much time on Mando and I don't think they would spend very much time on Mando and Grogu in the Book of Boba Fett. However, this is all a part of the Mandoverse. So all of these shows that are coming out, you have to remember, revolve around the Mandalorian. Because the Mandalorian is where they got their start. So, I don't know. It's completely up in the air. All I think is that the next two episodes of the Book of Boba Fett are going to be absolutely wild. I think they're going to be awesome. And I think they're going to set the future of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett up for the next seasons. I do believe that the Book of Boba Fett is going to get a season 2 because how could you not have a second season starring the greatest Mandalorian out there? It's just perfect sense. It's just perfect sense. So I would give that episode a 10 out of 10. Now there's only very few amount of episodes of Star Wars that get a 10 out of 10 from me, but I loved everything about this episode. Um, what would I rate it as a Book of Boba Fett episode? Probably like a 3. Uh, Pretty low given the fact that Boba's not in it. So, I don't know. Great episode, though. Just not a great Book of Boba Fett episode. Um, Moving on to the next topic. Um, EA, Lucasfilm Games came out and announced 3 new Star Wars games in the works. Um, by the way, I think them using the name Lucasfilms Games is terrible. Because I remember all my Star Wars games when I was growing up being made by LucasArts. And that made a lot more sense. But Disney disbanded LucasArts back in like 2012. And now they've made Lucasfilms Games. So, okay. I guess that works. Uh, so, anyways, they announced 3 new games. One of them being the next Jedi Fallen Order, or whatever it's called. Um, the second one being a strategy game, and the third being a first-person shooter. And all of these games are being developed by Respawn Entertainment. Now, if you're unfamiliar with them, those are the folks that did Jedi Fallen Order, they did Titanfall, and they did Apex Legends. Um, so the strategy game could be very Empire at War-esque, maybe an RTS. If you're unfamiliar with RTS games, that's real-time strategy. Um, so it could be like Empire at War. Empire at War was an old RTS game that a lot of people like. I was never any good at it. I played it, but I wasn't good at it. So I don't really have that many hours put into it. Now let's get to the first person shooter. The first person shooter is being headed by one of the guys who was heading the original Battlefront games. So that gets me so excited. The man responsible for 2 of the greatest Star Wars games is back, and he's heading the first person shooter that Respawn is doing. So I have nothing but hype for that. And then of course Jedi Fallen Order 2 or whatever it's going to be called. That's probably going to be great. I really look forward to seeing the story of Cal Kestis continue. I'm just kind of worried though because, you know, Cal Kestis being so involved with being a Jedi so close to the original trilogy, you know, that's kind of the Rebels situation. Because Rebels was before A New Hope, and they had to figure out like, okay, how are we going to get Kanan and how are we going to get Ezra out of the picture so the rebels don't have a Jedi? Well, of course they killed Kanan, and then space whales, and Ezra's gone. Uh, Now that's going to be the same problem with Cal Kestis. How is Cal Kestis going to escape, being involved in the original trilogies? They'll figure out something. Um, let's not talk about the space whales though. Um, I'm sure you guys noticed that this is called the Chimaera Conversations. Um, my YouTube profile picture's Thrawn. Thrawn in a chair is the video playing for this. Thrawn is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Star Wars character. He's up there. Um, how he was portrayed in Rebels, just no. There's some episodes where he's good, but there's most episodes he's just like a cartoon villain, and he's just playing the villain role, and that's not Thrawn. And then he gets taken out by space whales. So hopefully Thrawn in Ahsoka will be considerably better, but I don't have that much hope. So back to Star Wars games. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga officially has a release date. It's coming out in early April, and I am incredibly excited for it. Lego games kind of lost me. I think the last Lego game I played was Lego The Hobbit, which was back in like 2016, something like that. I actually booted it back up the other day and played some of it. But yeah, I have not played very many of the recent Lego games. But I will be getting this one because I think it looks exceptional and I think it looks like a blast. I'm really looking forward to being able to unlock hundreds of characters playing through all the Star Wars movies. Maybe inserting like the Mandalorian into like the Last Jedi to try and make it a little bit better in my mind. Like, all right, so this is how it's going to be in my head canon. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm gonna have fun. So, and then really the last piece of news that I uncovered that's really worthy of being talked about is Anthony Daniels, who is of course, man behind C-3PO. He is the guy who wore the suits in the original, and in basically every movie that's been out, C-3PO's in it somehow. He posted on his Instagram of him in a motion capture suit and said, "Finally, a suit that fits." So, and then he had a bunch of like C-3PO hashtags. So C-3PO is coming back in some degree here in the future. I have a feeling it's probably for the Droid Story TV show that's coming out. That's my guess. That he might. I mean, he might be doing it for a video game, but I don't know if they would go through the hassle of doing that for a video game. But yeah, he's coming back as C-3PO. So if you thought we saw the last of C-3PO, well, I hate to break it to you, but we did not. He's back, and he'll keep coming back. You'll never escape C-3PO, ever. If there's one person in Star Wars that's immortal, it's C-3PO. So, anyways, that is essentially all I have to talk about. So, pretty short episode today, um, but it was fun. Lots of good stuff. Lots of good Star Wars material. I look forward to the next 2 weeks of Book of Boba Fett. Hopefully, we'll get a lot of new Star Wars news. Maybe some news about Kenobi the Bad Batch. I have a feeling that we might get a trailer for one of them at the end of the Book of Boba Fett because they like to tease stuff like that. Just like the Book of Boba Fett was teased at the end of the second season of Mandalorian. So, anyways, thank you for once again listening to my very, very low budget podcast, and I hope to see you again next week.